Peace, family. Sister Victoria X here. Um, from sistervictoriax.com. And I don't know what's going on Instagram, but it's really just acting crazy over here. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we are live. So it's time for our morning reading. And if you would like to get notified when I go live, go ahead and text Healthy Hue, all caps, no space, to 77948. It's a beautiful morning. I'm actually excited about the next read. I want to get through it. It's a few pages. I'll admit that up front. It is a few pages. So if we get started right away, we can go ahead and get through with that. Go ahead and tag your peoples and share this live out now in the beginning so they can get the reading and the commentary if you believe that that's something that they might be interested in. And I want to make sure that I make this public because for some reason all of my videos naturally just go to private or something like that. So we're going to take care of that right now. And so there we go. And that's it. So my name is, walaikum salam. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tagging your friends. Go ahead and share that in the comments. Okay, and so my name, see, look, I can't stand this chair, y'all. I got this little busted chair. It's just horrible. I already have, it's okay. It's okay, honey. I'll switch it out tomorrow. My name is Sister Victoria X. I'm a work from home transition coach. I help women, primarily wives and moms, transition into working from home by helping them set up systems, schedules with tools to set the foundation for their business, both at home and in business, so that they can easily find the balance between the both. So I'm trying to position this to where I can see both. And so we are going to go ahead and get started with our reading. Like I said before, if you would like to get notified when I do go live, go ahead and text Healthy Hue, all caps, no space, to 77948. And just like always, we're going to start our reading. We're going to do the reading all the way through first, and then we will do the commentary at the end because I know and understand that everybody does not care for my commentary. And so we want to honor those that just want to hear the reading. So the book that we are reading is The Law of Recognition by Murdock, discovering the gifts, opportunities, and relationships that God has already placed in your life. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Taylor. Peace, the brother in the east. Peace, Sister Sharita. And so today we are reading chapter 16, Recognition of the Dominant Weakness of Those You Have Chosen to Trust. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and 12. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. Weakness is contagious. Conduct allowed becomes conduct approved. Every day, the newspaper is full of illustrations and reports regarding a high school student that was, quote unquote, in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. Recently, a mother shared how her son was in a car containing drugs. He had never taken drugs in his life, but he was friendly and a companion to those who did. The police stopped them. Every one of them received a jail sentence, including her son. You cannot afford to ignore the weaknesses of those near you. Jonah is a fascinating story of a rebellious preacher. He paid the fare on a ship going to a different destination than God had commanded. The judgments of God followed him. Rebels are always penalized, always. The ship almost capsized. The wrath of God had been stirred. Jonah was on that ship. God was bringing pressure on him to repent and make a change. Those who permitted his presence were exposed to the same wrath and judgment. When they threw Jonah overboard, the consequences of his rebellion were not felt any longer. Calm came. You see, you do not have to be Jonah for the storm to affect your life. When you tolerate the presence of those who are rebellious against God, you will taste the same results and consequences. Korah rebelled against the authority of Moses, but when the judgment came, 250 people were destroyed with him, his family. It is important that you know the weaknesses of those near you. You must recognize the dominant weakness of your mate. Satan will attack your life through your mate. One minister once told me, I refused to face the fact that my wife enjoyed the atmosphere of the ungodly. She loved the climate of casinos, ungodly music, and dirty jokes. It eventually destroyed our marriage. You must recognize the dominant weakness of your children. My mother searched between mattresses and closet boxes and everywhere to find magazines or anything that would confirm her suspicions in us boys. I said, Mother, don't you trust me? Not a lick, was her usual reply. She was aware that any weakness in the children would infiltrate and penetrate the climate of our home. Everything changes when a weakness is permitted to grow close to you. You must recognize the dominant weakness of those you work with. When a young man I dearly loved misrepresented a price to one of my vendors, I had to fire him. He explained that he was trying to make me money save on a bill, but I realized that if he would lie to help me, eventually he would lie about me. One of the greatest wisdom keys I ever discovered was those who sin with you will eventually sin against you. You must recognize the dominant weakness in those handling your finances. I spoke to a wife whose husband continuously defrauded the government in taxes and reports. He is in prison today. She was completely oblivious to his weakness. Now she is scraping financially to provide for her children. When you know the dominant weakness of those around you, it enables you to pray appropriately with faith, prepare for the consequences. Everyone trusts someone. Those you have chosen to trust hold the key to your future. 8 facts concerning the weaknesses of others. 1. Jesus understood the weaknesses of those close to him. Peter had some personal problems. That is why Jesus said, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. Luke chapter 22, verses 31 and 32. So it is important to pray for those who are linked to you. 2. Those who serve men of God often have weaknesses too. Look at Gehazi. Most of us would think he had too much of God's presence to lie to Naaman and request the gift that had been reserved for Elisha, but his dominant weakness surfaced. Read 2 Kings 5 and 22. Judas was continuously in the presence of Jesus, yet his weakness flourished. Read Matthew 26, 47 through 49. Absalom had access to the greatest warrior in history, King David, yet his envy and need for power overcame him. Read 2 Samuel 15, 2 through 6. 3. Satan's favorite entry point into your life will always be through someone closest to you. It happened in the life of Jesus, Joseph, and even Paul. It can happen to you. 4. You can love people without trusting them. I have friends that I dearly love and enjoy their company. They laugh easily. They care deeply about my life, but I have learned not to trust them with information because they are not discreet. I do not trust them with my finances because they do not have the integrity to repay their own debts. When I am in their company, I enjoy their laughter, their climate of ease and fun, but my love for them does not require my trusting them. 5. Some people are trustworthy but not enjoyable. You will have people in your life that will do exactly what they say. They will not destroy you. They will not damage your life, but they do not share your goals and dreams. Your successes activate their rivalry, not their admiration of you. 6, discern where Satan has previously deceived those you love. One friend had a drug problem. He had mastered it. He traveled everywhere. So he came and spent some time assisting me in my ministry. I was horrified to find out that several times when he had worked for me, he had taken drugs. Knowing that was still his weakness would have prepared me more for the shocking experience I encountered later. 7, the weakness of others often flourishes in the presence of certain friends. Know those friends. Know when they accompany each other to parties, vacations, or routine outings. 8, someone you trust will always trust someone else you would not. I have experienced broken confidences more often than I like to recall. The deception of friendliness, the trap of familiarity, and the climate of fatigue has destroyed many friendships. 8 important suggestions when you recognize the dominant weakness of those you love. 1, do not permit your imagination or suspicious nature to magnify their weakness more than what it really is. The conversations and gossip can turn tiny sparks into huge forest fires very easily. Jealousy, envy, and lying spirits have destroyed many homes. A lying spirit reveals itself when you consistently find yourself looking or expecting another to fail. Satan turns something small into something huge within your mind. 2, intercede for the person to God. Jesus prayed for Peter, and the results came. Prayer works. Ask the Holy Spirit to give you the words that will properly address the problem. 3, talk directly to the person about their weakness. If they confess it, you have created a prayer partner and possible friend. If they rebel, you have exposed them as a fool. Only God can change them from that point. 4, insist on praying with them concerning their weakness. Without the Holy Spirit, every one of us will fail anyway. Invite God to get involved. 5, find the testimonies of overcomers who have defeated that same weakness in their lives. Purchase the book or share the testimony with your friend. 6, keep the confidentiality of their weakness forever between you and God. It is the glory of a king to conceal a matter. Discretion is honorable. Confidentiality will be ultimately reward. Silence provides God a season to intervene and create changes. 7, evaluate your own personal weaknesses during this season and permit humility to be produced because of it. When we discern the weaknesses of others, it is an appropriate time to address the weaknesses within ourselves. Believe that God will sow mercy towards you as you sow mercy towards others. Unfounded suspicions become entry points for lying spirits. Reject the temptation to magnify or grow an offense or a hidden fear. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. 1 Corinthians 10 and 12. 8, depend on God to get involved. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with that temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear. 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. When we then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak and not to please ourselves. Romans 15 and 1. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. He shall be holden up, for God is able to make him stand. Romans 14 and 4. Brethren, if a man has overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such in one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burden, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6, 1 through 2. Recognition of the dominant weakness in those you love will reduce expectations and breathe longevity and loyalty into friendship. And that is the conclusion of chapter 16, recognition of the dominant weakness of those you have chosen to trust. Inside of the book, The Law of Recognition by Mike Murdock, discovering the gifts, opportunities, and relationships that God has already placed into your life. Okay. Now we are entering the commentary portion of the reading. And I want you guys to share and tag some people that you think will benefit from what we're about to talk about in regards to the weaknesses of those we surround ourselves with. And if you would like to get notified when I go live, go ahead and text Healthy Hue, all caps, no space, to 77948. And the thing that stood out to me the most in this chapter in my head as I was reading, and it kept coming up, was the importance of being authentic within your relationships and within your friendships with people. Because a lot of what's going on here is like us excusing bad behavior. This is a great chapter for us to do, Sister Square. Oh yes, I'm gonna put that. Y'all mark down chapter 16 so we can do that on Sister Square, right? Because if you don't be truthful with the people that are around you, if you don't be truthful with the people that are connected to you, then just like this chapter says, you are liable to receive or feel the consequence that they are given for their weakness. Right. And so, I mean, even if you were selfish, if we looked at this from a selfish standpoint, protect yourself and be truthful and correct others, right? So that you could save yourself from having to get that rollover effect. And so this is why, I appreciate those in my life that are honest. I don't always be hopping right on the honesty. You feel me? Sometimes I'll be, having a little bit of resistance, which I'm learning through. But I appreciate it because sometimes we just don't see it. We just do not see things that from the outside looking in, they just can't even understand why you don't see it for what it is. And so the other thing that stood out to me was at the very end when it says recognition of the dominant weakness in those you love will reduce expectations. Correction is love. Yes, ma'am, Sister Naomi. Praise be to Allah. And welcome everyone to the live. Assalamu alaikum. Peace, family. Thank you for tuning in. Recognition of the dominant weakness in those you love will reduce expectation. How beautiful is that? Right? Because some of the problems that we tend to have with people within relationships and within friendships, or I guess friendships are relationships. So let's just say within relationships in general, is that we have an expectation of a person. And a lot of the times we don't even share the expectations that we have of people with them. So it allows them the room to not meet the expectation. But this basically says, right, that if we learn to recognize the weaknesses within the other people in our relationship, we will inherently minimize the expectation that we have of them. Yeah, because we put expectations on people that they are not capable of fulfilling. And you can't know that they're not capable of feeling it. Right? Walaikum salam, James. We do not recognize that they're not capable of feeling it because, we can't see that they're not capable of feeling it if we don't first recognize where they are weak. So we have to get a lot more comfortable within our relationships with, pointing out things that we know are not of God, that are not of Allah. Because more times than not, it ain't their first offense just because they in your face. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Nadia, right? And then it goes into saying that weakness is contagious. And it's so crazy because I'm telling y'all, this is the third chapter in a row. Maybe the third chapter in a row where walaikum salam, where it goes over and is very intentional about talking about the importance of the people that you surround yourself with. Too often we give ourselves and allow people to have access to us, right? And not realizing that those people, whether we like to make ourselves believe that we are not who we hang around, weaknesses are contagious. Bad habits are contagious. Just like I said yesterday, when you in the South, that South twang in your voice is contagious. You be there about 3-4 days, and all of a sudden you sound like you from around the way. So if we can pick up on people's languages just from being in their vicinity, then why do we not also believe that we can pick up on each other's habits, both good and bad? And that's why a lot of people stress that you want to make sure that you're around people that you aspire, that are either in positions that you aspire to be, or are currently working towards higher positions for themselves. Because when you're around those type of people, inshallah, the good of them, the good of their desire to have more, will rub off on you. So let's be mindful that weakness is contagious, and silence is consent. It says conduct allowed becomes conduct approved. Like, you know what you can and can't talk about to some of your friends. Conduct allowed becomes conduct approved. They got a certain standard, and when you're around them, you live up to that standard, or you don't be around them. Right? So we think that we're just allowing people to be who they are, but in fact, we're giving them permission to be in whatever it is that they're in. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Octavia. Did I say that already? Assalamu alaikum, if I didn't say it already. Right? And so, and that goes down to, and I'm going to say this because I don't know why this was dropped in my head, because I don't want to offend nobody. But I'm going to say it because I'm not going to sit with it. Because if I don't say it, I'm going to be sitting with it all day, wishing I would have said it. But that includes to liking these pictures that you ain't got no business liking. Stop yes, sis look cute. She look real cute, but that ain't what we supposed to be wearing. Yes, sis look real cute, but her hair is not covered. And this is just for, those who are within Islam. You know what I mean? Or whatever your, let me see. Assalamu alaikum, sis. I see that in my wife and her family, I got to depart her from them. I'm telling you, do it quickly, brother. Wa alaikum salam, sir. But you ain't got no business liking that. And you can insert here whatever that thing is for you. If you are someone that is adamant about not cursing, then you ain't got no business liking and commenting on videos and photos and stuff. Well, not photos. Obviously, photos aren't cussing. But you can if they got them cuss words on the screen. You ain't got no business liking that, because what does it say? Conduct allowed becomes conduct approved. If I know that all I could do, if I'm cussing and I'm getting all this attention, right? Nobody correcting me, then I'm gonna keep cussing, because we have a desire for attention. So if this how I gotta get the attention, I'm gonna be a cussing sailor. Still sharpen steel. We have to evaluate each other to sharpen each other. Yes, ma'am, Sister Charlotte. And for a long time, I was one of those people that just, I stay in my lane. You feel me? And I'm still one of those people. So this is talking directly to me. I'm still one of those people. For the most part, I stay in my lane. I'm not finna check nobody about nothing unless they're in my immediate circle and I have some kind of relationship with them. But I don't be liking no pictures. You know what I mean? That's my way of kind of trying to check it without checking it, because I'm a very, low-key passive-aggressive person. I can be direct and, straightforward when I have to be, mainly in business. But as far as confrontation, I'm really, kind of like passive-aggressive. I don't really want to go there because I'm not worked on all the way in that area. So I know if I go there, it's just, I don't know where it might go. So silence is consent. And conduct allowed becomes conduct approved. So check what pictures you liking. I know they be looking cute. They be looking cute. They be having the color coordination. They be having a nice little outfit. The background be looking just right. But that's me as well, introverted. And it says, in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. Right? And then it goes into, and it starts talking about the mother whose son has some friends that, they like to puff a little bit. Her son didn't like to puff a little bit, to her knowledge. But when the police pull over and they find some weed in the car, they don't care who puffing and who not puffing. Everybody guilty by association. So her son is sitting in jail right now because he decided to hang around people that were doing things that could get you in jail. So we can continue to think like, you know what I mean? Like, who I hang around is not of importance. And I'm so glad that now it's starting to become a conversation. Like a few years ago, this was not a conversation. Nobody was talking about it was important to hang around, the right kind of people. Everybody was really talk on that. That don't represent me. I can hang around who I want to hang around, and that don't mean that I'm that. You know what I mean? I'm glad that we're starting to become more realistic in our expectations and in our ideas of the concept of you are who you hang around. You can do and say what's needed as long as you say it or do it in the spirit of peace. Yes, sir, absolutely, absolutely. So we have to be mindful about that. We have to be mindful about that, because if somebody looking from across the room, they can't tell the difference. And it says, to the same rest. When you tolerate the presence of those who are rebellious against God, you will taste the same results and consequences. She said, birds of a feather flock together, because if you can hang around low moral actions, it has a pull on your life. It's attractive. It's attractive to you. He said, do I want to put, okay, you in the public comment. So Walaikum Salam said, what tactics should I use? Because when I try to tell, she defended them. Let me tell you something, right? When I first met my husband, I don't even know if I could consider them friends right now. Because when I just take a look back at all of the things that, the situations that I was put in and all that kind of stuff, like me as a friend, I would never put my friend in a situation like that. So I don't know if I can necessarily call them friends. But at that time, they was like my ace booms, you know what I mean? Like they were very important in my life. And so he off the bat knew. He was like, no, them is not the people. Them is not the people. And I was very resistant. I would fight him on it. It caused so much strife. And because they were my friends, they had an influence on my mind too. So, now I'm having arguments with him and he's like, I know this ain't you. Like, this is not you. This is your friends. So all I can say, Richard, was time will tell. You ain't got to keep telling her. You done already told her. So now she got to learn. Just like with Allah, he will tell us, he will show us time and time again. But it's not until we learn or we get that trial or we get that consequence that we have to figure it out the hard way. So it's nothing that you could tell a person that's not ready to accept what you're telling them. It's nothing that you can tell them that's going to shift the mood. And sometimes Allah got to rock the foundation on which they walk. Like, it's been years, you know what I mean? It took a few years for me to understand and see what my husband was saying. And so now, when his spidey senses be tingling, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to keep my eye on that. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on that. They're going to do something and she will come around because she can't see it. They got to do something. They got to show themselves, right? Right now, they covert with their tactics. You know what I mean? They're real covert with their tactics. But a clown, a joker can only hide themselves for so long. Eventually they will reveal themselves. That's literally how I lost my best friend. Then I couldn't unsee it. You can't unsee it once you see it. So I know that you're struggling, brother. To me, she doesn't want to leave the nest. I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you. Let her. It's either, what did they say? You either gonna get led astray. What is it called? Something about, like, some people just need a whooping. Some people need the warning. Some people need the whooping. She gonna have to get that whooping to see. The generations before understood it. I think we just get into the age where we're beginning to realize it, which is a problem. We need to come to this realization much sooner in life so that they're why can I send a longer? I don't know why you can't send a longer message. But that's true. And part of the reason why the younger the older generation, like there's such a gap like that. I don't know why I put that on the screen. Sorry, brother. They talking about pray. I think the primary reason why there's such a gap like that between generations is because there's not enough actual conversation between the generations. When I was younger, you couldn't be a part of no adult conversations. You had to sit outside the room. They wanted to coddle you. This is grown folks' business. But I mean, like some of that stuff is like, you know what I mean? And then you grow up only to realize that grown folks' business is gossiping and a bunch of drama. It's like, come on. So I think that a part of that gap is that we don't have enough conversations. It's her family. We have to learn to still have connections, but not immerse ourselves in our family's foolery. Yes. Hey, thank you for tuning in, Helpmate Millionaire. We have been dumbed down a lot. Yes, it's the family. We have to stop believing that just because we share the same blood as someone that they have some kind of rights to us. People that we've shared blood with has done a lot of harm and a lot of damage to our community. So blood is not a rite of passage. So just like them friends gonna have to do something, the family gonna have to do something too. The family gotta do something even more serious than the friends. They gotta do something egregious, you know what I mean? Something to where it's so disgusting that, they can't help but deny it. Because we give our families too many passes too. You could love somebody and not deal with them. Okay, then it says, okay, you must recognize the dominant weakness in those that are handling your finances. When you know the dominant weaknesses of those around you, it enables you to pray appropriately and with faith, prepare for the consequences, and those you have chosen to trust holds the key to your future, right? That's the kind of friendships that we should want to be a part of. And I think a lot of this book, it's like really when you look at it, it really teaches you how to be a good friend and be a better person, right? Because now it's putting you into your mind what you should do for those where you see a weakness. You pray appropriately and with faith, and you prepare for the consequences. And I'm gonna add another one. Or you do neither and get rid of them if they don't want to fix it or they don't want to try to fix it. We have been dumbed down a lot. I agree that blood can be just as horrid and needs to be removed. It needs to be removed quickly, right? And so then it goes in and it talks about, 8 facts concerning the weaknesses of others. Satan's favorite entry point into your life will always be through someone close because they got the most access to you, more importantly, they got the most access to your mind. You can love people without trusting them. Now, let me tell you, if I can be completely transparent, this one threw me for a loop because I just feel like if you love somebody, you trust them, right? That's what I feel like. I feel like, is it really love if there's no trust? But then when I think about it, right, it starts going deeper into it. It says, I have friends that I dearly love, but I have learned not to trust them with information because they are not discreet. I do not trust them with finances because they do not have integrity to pay their own debts. And when I'm in their company, I enjoy their laughter. That's settling on the best part, right? But this is true. Even if you love somebody, just because you love somebody don't mean that you need to trust them in areas of which they have no experience. And so I'm gonna still sit on that because I still feel a way about that trusting thing and loving thing. And then it says they will not damage your life, but they do not share your goals and dreams. Some people are trustworthy but not enjoyable. Okay. Um, and it says right here, the weakness of others often flourishes in the presence of certain friends. You got to figure out, just like you got to figure out who those people are that feeds into their devil. Know when they accompany each other, right? And drop some seeds to leave they behind alone too. Do not permit your imagination or suspicious nature to magnify their weakness more than what it really is. We really have this bad. We will see a weakness in somebody, or we'll see something that somebody did wrong, and we 10x it. Trust is earned. Your crackhead parents you love, but won't trust. Oh, okay, I get you, Sister Naomi. That makes sense. See, you be breaking it down. You be putting it like so. Boom. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I got it. Message received. But that's what we do to people. They will have a small little something, and we will 10x it. We will literally make it so big to where the only thing you see is that one thing, and that's the only thing that you make them feel that they are that thing that you cannot stand. Do not magnify their weakness more than what it really is. Just like when we see, like in the church, I remember if you found out somebody was sinning, it was such an egregious act, as if one sin is larger than the other, and you ain't just get through sinning or whatever the day before. We love to 10x something, but we want to minimize the stuff that we be doing, right? We want to make it so small so that I can even fold that thing up and put it in my pocket if I wanted to. But if it's you, we got to go. We got to 10x that thing. We got to make it known. Conversations and gossip can turn tiny sparks into huge forest fires very easily. Satan turns something small into something huge within your mind. Leave room for them to improve in real life and in your mind. Stop harping on it. Stop thinking about it. Once you bring it to them, it's no longer of your concern to be thinking about. Intercede for that person to God. And then it says, evaluate, keep the confidentiality of their weakness forever between you and God. Stop telling people business. Discretion is okay. It's honorable. Okay. It's like very rare these days. People just be running their mouth about stuff that they ain't got no business putting their mouth on. Evaluate your own personal weaknesses during the season and permit humility to be produced because of it. Right. And I will say this, right? We often tend to see the weaknesses in others, right? Because it was once a weakness that we either was dealing with or are dealing with, because we can only identify what we have experience with. So while you investigating, I'm gonna say we, because it's not a you and me, this is a us. While we are investigating everybody else's weakness, we need to put some thought onto our weaknesses as well. And if we're gonna let something marinate in our minds, let our weaknesses and how to improve that weakness marinate as well. Check this out. Depend on God to get involved. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. Above that ye are able. Let me tell you something. Walaikum salam, Sister Khadijah. We know that the Bible says God will not put any too much on us than we can bear. Now let's think about that. If we truly believe that, then we know that we're stronger than any trial or any difficulty that comes into our lives. We should know that off top. Right? And so in knowing that, when we're going through things, we should investigate a little bit more and figure out why it was necessary for us to experience that and how to get out of it. Because I don't know, You know what? I read this in the Quran years ago, and I still have not been able to refine that point. But it was somewhere in the Quran where it was talking about how Allah, like what we go through, is nothing compared to what Allah actually knows we can handle. He gives us just enough to where, because our thoughts believe that we can't handle much. And so when we go through stuff, that's what we rely on, except instead of the actuality of it. So it was somewhere in there where it was talking about basically our trials that we go through are like very small in comparison to what we actually can handle. So think about that. You going through, realize that you're probably 10 times stronger than it is, but it's just our mind and our mind's ability to compute that keeps us believing that we cannot do more. So I need y'all to tag y'all friends, share this live out. I need y'all to text Healthy Hugh, all caps, no space, to 77948 if you like to get notified when I go live. If you made it to this far in the video, I want you to put hashtag replay in the comments. Tomorrow we will be coming back with our morning reading. And it's going to be chapter 17, recognition of greatness when you enter its presence. So that will be the conclusion of today's reading. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with your sister. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace, family.